Hi, welcome. My name's Marisa.
Hi.
Janessa.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
You can
you
have a
too.
seat anywhere
Okay.
you would like.
Thank you. Just sit here.
So before we get started, I just want to review confidentiality with you and letting you know everything we say in this room stays between us unless you intend on harming yourself or others.
Okay.
And also I want to review informed consent with you. So today we will be filling out an assessment. And I will be jotting down a few notes during our interview. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. So your name is Janessa Reed.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what brings you in here today.
Well, recently I've just been having a hard time wanting to get up in the morning. Been feeling really worried about the future and like big fears, like about dying and losing my friends. You know, I'm getting up there in age, and so I think I've just been starting to think about that more. But it feels heavy, and I feel sad about it.
Do you mind telling me how old you are?
Yes, I'm 80.
And how often are you having these fears, Miss Reed? Is it like an everyday thing?
Yeah, probably every day. Not for like, it's not like it's the whole day, but definitely in the morning when I'm trying to like get my day started, that's when I notice it the most.
So in the morning time?
Yeah.
And this has been consistent, you would say? About how long do you think this has been going on for?
At least a month or two, and then I decided that it would probably be time to talk to someone about it since it hasn't really gone away.
Right. I'm glad you're here today so we can talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you mind telling me a little bit about your living situation? Like, who do you live with?
Yeah. So it's just me and my husband. And we have 5 kids, but they're all grown and they're out of the house. So it's just me and my husband. We live in Cullowhee, and we moved here for our retirement.
Okay. Can you tell me, do you mind telling me your children's names?
Yes. Jane, John, Ashley, Sam, and Catherine.
And your husband's name?
George.
Okay. Is that everyone?
Yes.
Okay. And your home, do you guys rent or?
We bought a place in
Okay.
Cullowhee, yeah.
Okay. This is just giving me a little bit of background information about you.
Yeah.
So, so you did say you were married, so you do have a significant other, and you did say his name was George, correct?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about your relationship.
Well, we met in our 20s, and we've been through it all together. You know, 5 kids later, and we're still married. And overall, we have a really good marriage. And overall, I'm happy in our marriage. But George does drink.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more than I would like him to.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, it's okay.
What does that look like? When you say more than you would like him to, can you express to me what that means?
Yeah. So I think I've come to terms with that he's probably a functioning alcoholic. I mean, we're retired now, but he was able to maintain his job. That was never a problem. But he definitely drank pretty much every day. When he was working, he would wait until 5. When he got home, And it's really hard to say how much he would drink. He would start, he would basically crack open a beer from the time he got home and be drinking basically until he went to bed.
So would you say maybe he goes through a case or more?
I
if
would
you had to
say he at least would have 6 beers every night, and that's still the case. But then on weekends, I think he would let loose a little bit more because he didn't have work, and on weekends is when he would drink liquor, and I feel like that's when it became more of a problem. Sometimes he gets angry with me, and angry with the kids, and they're adults now, but it's still hard on them, and it makes them remember maybe times when he got angry at them when they were kids. And that feels probably like the hardest part. I can handle when he's angry at me, but I don't like seeing him get angry with the kids.
Right. So I know you talked about your kids, and I just want to make sure I heard you correctly when you said it before. So none of your children live in the home currently.
Right, they're all grown up.
Okay. So, do you mind telling me about any of other significant relationships that you have other than your children? And I know it seems like family is a really important thing to you.
Yes.
And I've heard you refer to, your family a lot, and
Yes.
what I've heard so far. So it definitely seems like that could be a strength, and that you're very involved in your family. And
yes, and let me just say, I'm so proud of them. They're all very successful at their jobs, and they do such a good job of keeping in touch with their mama. They all live all over, none of them really live in North Carolina, but they all make a point to come see me as often as they can. And we all FaceTime about once a week. And so that's really special to me. And outside of my kids, I guess I don't have that many friends anymore. When we moved to Colowee to retire, and I love it, and it was my idea, but it was kind of like starting over. And
Right.
So, and honestly, kind of like what I was telling you about before, a lot of my friends are dying, and that's been really hard. And even the friends that I do have, I'm scared they're gonna die, and that worries me a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you been able to keep in touch with any of those friends? I know you said that you've moved.
Yes, I my best friend Anne, she lives in Chicago, and we talk every Sunday on the phone for hours. It feels like we can just talk forever. So I would say Anne's my best friend, and
so you would say maybe that she could be some sort of support to you, even though she doesn't live.
Yes.
Here.
Oh, she knows all about the kids, all about George. We've been friends for over like 50 years, I would say.
So tell me a little bit about your hobbies. Do you have anything that you like to do outside of?
Yes. I love walking my dog after dinner. Her name's Luna. And last time my daughter Catherine was in town, we actually rescued Luna together. So that was special. It makes me think of my daughter when I walk her. I really like to do that. I also I like to knit. I knit all my kids' sweaters for every holiday. They probably hate it, but I love it. And I love to read. I do. It calms me down when I'm feeling a little anxious sometimes.
Okay. Is there a certain type of book like genre you like to read? Or
Yeah, I like documentary or like biographies, autobiographies. I love learning about the lives of others and learning about their strengths, and it gives me hope sometimes.
okay. So I know you said like you just moved here recently to Cullowhee, and so do you have like, are you involved in any groups or anything like that? Any community involvement? I mean, I know that may be hard because you just
Yeah,
moved here, but
George and I, we raised our kids Catholic, and so that's something I still care about. We don't really go to the church except like for Christmas and Easter, but I guess knowing it's there for me if I wanted to go, it's a little, even that's comforting.
okay. So I know you said bringing back again to moving here. I was just curious. It seems like it's been kind of hard moving from another country now and living here in the U.S.
Yes. Um, I was born in San Juan, and um, I didn't move to the United States till I was 25.
Mhm.
So all my youth was spent there. And basically, I always knew I wanted to come to the United States. I knew the options were limited there, and I knew if I ever wanted to have kids, I wanted to give them a better childhood than I had. I had a good relationship with my parents growing up, but we were really poor, and they both worked lots of different jobs to support me. And I have a younger brother, and he's 10 years younger than me. And so I basically had to raise him because my parents were always so busy. And, you know, it was hard at the time. And now I really appreciate it because I know they just wanted better for me when I got older.
Right. And I feel like that's a strength too, that you were able to, take care of your younger brother and provide for him, because I'm sure at that age that was something that may have been hard for you to do. And
yeah, it was, but I do think it's made me a better mother. And I have to admit, I've actually lived in Cullowhee for almost 7 years. It just sometimes my memory slip, just it all goes so fast. But gosh, it feels like I just moved here because I guess I just haven't settled into my community. So it feels, I guess I've just started over a lot in my life, and that's been a pattern since I moved to the United States.
Okay. So, have you ever needed any additional assistance in completing academic or professional tasks? Do you feel like you've ever needed any assistance or help with anything like that?
No, the only time anyone's ever told me to get help was my doctor, who really encouraged me to come see you.
Okay.
I made the call myself to come see you, but he gave me your name and the referral. But no, that has nothing to do with reading or writing or math or any of that.
Okay. So I know you have told me a little bit about your husband maybe having some problems with alcohol use. So, are there any physical or emotional barriers that affect your romantic life that you feel comfortable sharing at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to even think of each other romantically anymore. I mean, we're basically, it's like when you've been married for this long, you sort of just become a unit, Like I can't imagine my life without him,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't really say we have much of a romantic life anymore. And maybe that's because of age, and maybe that's because of his drinking. I
Right.
don't really know.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your education. What is your highest level of education you received?
Well, gosh, let me think. When I moved here, I was 25, but I still wanted to go to college. So, um, I got my bachelor's degree, and then in education, and then I decided I wanted to do more. I just wanted to make my parents so proud. So I ended up getting my master's in education.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just filling this out as we go.
That's okay.
So you said you're retired, correct?
Yes. Yeah, thank God those kids wore me out when I was a teacher.
What grade did you teach?
Second.
Second grade.
Mm-hmm.
And what discipline? Like, was it English or?
Well, at that age, in elementary school, you teach all of it. So, reading, math, writing, a little bit of science.
So let's talk a little bit about your mental health. Have you had any or received any treatment prior to visiting me regarding anything that you can think of?
No, I mean, this is the first time when I went and saw my primary doctor for my annual physical, and it's hard for me to even admit it because I'm a pretty optimistic person, and so it's hard. It's yeah, it's not easy to have to admit these things.
But you're here today, and we're gonna work through this, and we're gonna get you the help that you need.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming here and being willing to work with me. And so, are you taking any medications currently?
Well, I take medicine for my cholesterol.
Do you know the name of it, or it's okay if you don't?
I'll have to get back to you.
Okay.
When you're old, you take all these different medicines. I also have my cholesterol. I think I take something for my blood pressure and a bunch of vitamins. But I'll let you know.
And do you take any herbal supplements?
No, one of my daughters, she's into all that junk, but I can't be bothered with it.
Okay. And have you ever used substance in the past?
Well, I mean, like every young person, I drank a little bit, partied a little bit, but
there wasn't anything that you would say, impaired your daily living or anything like that.
No. And then, I might have like a glass of wine on the weekend with George, but Lord knows I can't keep up with him.
So have you ever been in trouble with the law or anything like that?
No. George has once.
He has. Okay,
Yes.
and can you tell me a little bit about that incident?
Yes, we were. All the kids were in town. Maybe a couple years back, and we were at a restaurant eating out, and the restaurant, had a bar, and so George and the boys went to the bar, and me and the girls, we went home after we ate, and it's hard to get any of the truth from any of these boys, but apparently George drank too much and he got in a bar fight.
Okay.
And I don't know. He says the other guy started it, but anyway, George punched him in the face, and the cops were called. So, and he had to stay in one of those
a holding cell. Okay. Do you know how long he was there for?
Only 24 hours, just so he could sober up, and then Lord, he had to pay some giant fine or something. I don't know. We don't talk about it too much anymore.
And has there been anything else other than
no, just that? Well, I think he got a DUI.
And when was that?
Probably 10 years ago. I think it's off his record now, but that happened too.
Okay. So I know you've talked a little bit or previously about, having trouble getting up in the morning and stuff like that. And, I was just curious with that, have you had any noticeable changes that you can think of in like your eating pattern or,
Yeah, I've been skipping breakfast lately. I just feel like I'm in a funk in the morning. I used to make a nice breakfast every morning for me and George, but he sleeps in really late all the time. Probably from being up drinking the night before. But yeah, I usually don't eat until lunchtime, I would say.
So you would say that's the only meal that you skip a day?
Yeah, and it used to be my favorite meal, but I just can't be bothered anymore.
Okay. And so I know you talked earlier as well about, feeling maybe some feelings of sadness and stuff and not really knowing where those are coming from. And you said that this just recently came on.
Yeah, maybe, 2 months ago, something like that.
And you haven't had these feelings before? Like in any other,
No, I mean, I think normal stuff, like Lord knows, George and I have had our problems, but I was always able to sort of, I don't know, still come out feeling optimistic, and it's just been...
It's different this time.
It's different this time. I just feel scared that I'm going to lose everyone I love.
So tell me a little bit about some of your feelings you're having towards your husband. Like, do you feel angry? I know you're sad, but you don't really know where that's coming from. Do you think maybe it could be coming from that?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my daughter Catherine, who I'm closest to, her and her dad aren't very close because she gets mad at him. She thinks that he doesn't treat me well. I mean, he's never hit me and he doesn't yell at me, but I think he just kind of ignores me a little bit when he drinks, and but I'm not mad anymore. I'm too old to be mad. I guess I just wish I had more friends or more other people to hang out with. I think that would help.
Okay. And have you had any problems sleeping at night?
Well, I have a hard time falling asleep because it's just like I just have these thoughts and these fears, and I'm worried about my friends dying. When am I gonna die? Just getting so old, but then once I fall asleep, I sleep a lot. It's hard, like I was saying, it's just so hard to get up in the morning. I feel like I could sleep forever. I hope it's okay. I brought coffee.
Oh no, you're fine.
Okay, good. Can't be without my coffee.
So, through completing this with you today, I think maybe it would be beneficial if you're interested, if we met, once a week for the next couple months. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, it's kind of nice to just talk to someone. I mean, I get lonely. Yeah, I think that'd be nice.
So that's something that you would agree upon.
Yeah.
And then, so I was doing some thinking around, what's going on with you emotionally um, and what you're dealing with your husband. And so I thought maybe, and I know you also mentioned, not having a support system other than your one friend you have that lives in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So would you be interested in learning more about a support group called NAR, Anna?
What's that?
It's a support group for those whose loved ones are battling an addiction, and it would just allow you to receive extra support, and it's a safe space to kind of work through.
Wow, I guess I've never thought, like, it's so strange to say George is an addict. That those words are hard to say. I mean, I think it's something that I'd like, but what if George found out that I was going? Do you think he'd be mad at me?
I mean, do you feel like maybe it could be something you could talk to him about? I mean, do you feel like
I want to. I just, gosh, it would be really cool if he could, I don't know, come meet you or something. I don't know, or go meet a couples counselor, because I want to, but I don't want him to get mad at me.
Okay.
Because I think if he knew that I told you that, like, he's an addict, he might get mad. And I love him. I do. Lord knows I do.
So you think maybe it would be more beneficial for him to maybe come and sit down in a session with us and, just kind of talk through what's going on and what your concerns are, and then go from there?
Yeah, because I didn't know that existed. I mean, it sounds really neat, and I'm sure I can meet some friends, like you said. Yeah, I just want to proceed with caution doing that, but it does sound like it could be a good option for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you elaborate a little bit more on what your fear is other than him? I mean, is it just him being angry, or is there something else? I mean, what does his anger look like?
Well, I say angry, but honestly, when he gets angry, it's like he's covering up that he's sad. Really.
Okay.
And that's why I think I don't get mad at him. I think because we really have a strong marriage. I think he would be sad if he knew that I was sad because of something he did. Like, he doesn't want to hurt me, and he doesn't want to hurt the kids, and I know I think he would feel really bad, and it would just be like a headache to work through all that. And we're so old, like, I'm kind of like, what's the point? Because everyone around me is dying. Like, what if I died? And it's like, what's the point of rocking the boat?
Let's see. So maybe you think some couples counseling could be beneficial.
I'd like to. And George, he pretty much does whatever I ask him to, or gives me whatever I need. I mean, he's a really good provider, and I think it's possible he'd be open to going to therapy with me if he knew that it meant so much to me.
Okay. So would you agree maybe to both the RN and the couples counseling, or one or the other? What are you kind of thinking?
I think both. I think I'd like to start with the couples counseling just so,
Okay.
because I don't want to keep secrets from George. I mean, God, I could tell him I'm at some knitting club when I'm at RN, but that wouldn't feel good. It would feel sneaky, and I'd like to do it, but I don't want to keep secrets from him. And so if I could tell him up front and he knows, then I think I'd feel better about it.
So it sounds like maybe you're leaning more towards the couples counseling, and then maybe leading that to open up the conversation, and then moving forward towards the other option.
Because maybe I'd benefit from RN, but maybe there's a group that he could go to on his own. I don't know what that is or what that looks like, but
so you did say that he had substance.
Yes.
Yeah. Did he ever join any AA groups or anything like that?
After that DUI, I think it was like court mandated or something. I can't remember if it was AA or one of those other things. And he went because he had to. And I mean, I don't think he'd admit it, but I think he kind of got something out of it. I think he liked hanging out with the guys that he met there. Like, it kind of became like almost like a social thing. Mm-hmm. And so it ended up being kind of good for him, actually. But then, once, how it goes, it's like once he completed his classes, it's like, I think he just like wanted that part of his life to be over, because I think he was ashamed that it happened. And so it's easier to downplay it, and just be like, oh, that was just because the court made me do it. But he did like it, I will say.
Okay, so maybe that would be something that we could look into for him again as a possibility, because you do seem like, or it seems like that was helping.
Yeah, I think it was, and I think if maybe if it got brought up, maybe he'd remember, because Lord, I mean, it's been 10 years, and he probably should have gotten something like that again when he punched that guy, but George is really good at making buddies with people, so him and that cop just kind of feel like they just laughed it off. Mm-hmm. And which is good, I guess. It's not like I wanted George to get in big trouble, but I kind of wish that maybe, I don't know, maybe he could have been asked to go to one of these groups again. Like, I feel like it could have been like a catalyst for change,
Mm-hmm. So do you think maybe with him doing that, and if we can get him to agree on doing some of these things, it would alleviate some of these feelings you've been having? Maybe being able to.
I think so. I think it's like, it's inevitable that my friends are gonna start dying. I mean, we're old, but I guess I kind of feel like if George was truly like my anchor, and I could rely on him just a little bit more. Like, I know he can't be my only person, but I just feel like if our marriage was just like really solidified, really healthy, then maybe some of these things would feel a little bit easier. And
Right.
I miss making breakfast for him. I do. I just can't right now.
So I've heard you throughout this mention the fear of dying. I just kind of want to know, like, do you know where that's coming from, or is that something that's recently been?
Well, I didn't even tell you this. I can hardly get the words out of my mouth. But Anne, she has cancer.
Okay.
She has, gosh, I think it's stage 3 breast cancer, and we found out. Gosh, it's only been like 6 months since we found out, but it was so scary. It was like everything was fine, so she thought, and then I guess they saw like some kind of cloudiness, some bump on her mammogram, and I just was praying to the good Lord that it was benign, and it wasn't. And I guess it just made it real to me that, oh my Lord, we are old, and my best friend has cancer, and that's gonna. What if she dies? What if she dies? I don't know. I don't know how I would feel. I don't know how I would handle it. And I guess it's kind of got me scared, and then it's got me thinking about my own health and my own life and George's life. And
Right.
like I worry about his liver. God, I worry about his liver. Like, is he gonna get liver cancer from drinking? It's like some days, like all I think about is cancer when I wake up in the morning.
So that it sounds like that's where the fear, maybe, or the uncomfortableness of dying is coming from.
I think so, because I never gave much thought to it before. I mean, it always felt so far off or distant. I mean, Lord knows I've been to funerals before, but we all have, but especially at my age. But it never felt so personal until Anne got diagnosed several months back. And I haven't been able to see her since it happened. Like, airplane tickets, it's a whole mess,
Right. Well, so you've agreed to meet with me one time a week.
Yes.
And then you've agreed to couples counseling and after couples counseling.
Right. Gotta just play it safe a little bit,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that, we were in agreement with that, and that's what you want, before I move forward and,
okay,
make these referrals and things. But
okay.
I just want to thank you for your time today, and thank you for opening up to me, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Me too. Yeah. Thank you, Marisa. Yeah. Do I just go out this way?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay.